Am I the villain? I mean, could I actually be the drama? No. If this is a conversation you find yourself having more and more and more, maybe it's time that we took a deeper look and worked on some strategies so that we can resolve conflict in a better way. It may not be you that's causing the conflict. However, it can definitely be you that figures out the healthiest way to solve it. So, come on a quick journey with me and let's learn some healthy conflict resolution strategies. Are you ready? All right, let's go. While no one wants to have conflict, the reality is most of us will have some form of conflict from time to time. It is a normal and natural part of human relationships. You have to ask yourself, is it more important for me to be right or that this conflict is actually resolved? And be honest, because sometimes we just want to choose violence. If that's how you feel, just be real about it. Don't pretend that you're ready to solve it when you know you're ready to throw them hands. Listen, I'm not judging you, but if you're choosing violence, you might as well log off because this is not the training for you, okay? But if you're ready to resolve, actually get some resolution, then let's keep going. So since you are not choosing violence and we are choosing peace, then that means we don't want to show up with the same energy that we would if we were pulling up to fight. So we want to be intentional about our body language and our nonverbal clues. So what that looks like is making good eye contact, relaxing our posture, being aware of our facial expressions, right? We don't want to be mugging anybody. We don't want to seem like we are bringing that big dog aggressive energy, right? We want to avoid hand gestures. And please, Lord, don't point your finger in nobody's face, okay? And let's not forget about tone of voice. We all know it's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it. So you want to speak in a calm, moderate tone with not so much passion because we are a passionate people. So sometimes that passion can be misconstrued as anger. So you want to try to have a moderate tone and be as casual as if you were saying, pass the salt. All right, so now we're ready to prepare for the actual meeting, right? So here are a few things that you absolutely do not want to do, okay? The first thing I would say is don't make assumptions. Ask the question, never assume you already know the answer. Be very mindful of your facial expressions to try not to roll your eyes or make faces while the other person is talking. Definitely watch your hands. Watch your hands, okay? Try to stay focused and not bring up other issues. During this time, we want to focus on the solution of this particular problem. So stay on task and try not to bring up other issues that you may have. Try to avoid words like never or always. When we speak in such matter-of-fact language, it tends to be extreme and it upsets or triggers the other person. So really try to avoid saying you never do this or you always do this. Very triggering language. And unless this person is a mediator, try not to involve other people in this conflict resolution. They can add to it and create unnecessary drama. All right, so finally, we're going to get into some things that you definitely want to do, okay? So one thing that you want to do is make sure that you are prepared to listen, okay? You want to come into this conversation with an open mind, open ears, and a closed mouth. Listen more than you talk, okay? You want to resolve this problem. So in order to actually resolve, you need to understand that other person's perspective. And you can get a good understanding if you are not listening, okay? Try to use I feel statements as opposed to saying you did this, you did that, right? Focus on how this affected you. Focus on your own emotions and use the statements of I feel. When this happened, I felt, I feel, etc., etc. Okay? Try to avoid using a lot of no's when the other person is speaking and try to use yes, but I think that da 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 da. Okay? So avoid no's, implement more yeses, and also prioritize your emotions over the other person's personality. You want to make sure that you focus on the issue at hand. This is not the time to unpack every single problem that you have with this person. Focus on the right now, because the overall goal is to resolve this issue, not you being right. Okay. If you want to be right, you can do that by yourself. But in this problem, we want to find resolution. So prioritize addressing the problem. We want to identify what the problem is, and then you want to understand that other person's position. Okay. In order to do that, yes, we have to listen. Next, you want to list the possible solutions that each person can come up with. Evaluate which one of those options seem to work best, and then you all select the one that seems to be ideal for you and fit your needs. And hopefully, you guys can agree on one particular solution. Prioritize the issue, listen to each other, focus on the issue, then focus on the solution. And don't forget, after it's said and done, we've agreed on it. So now let's try to move forward. Okay, you may have heard me mention that you guys should identify the options. When we talk about conflict resolution, there are generally 5 resolution options that you're going to have. Okay, now in all of these resolutions, you definitely want to come in again with open mind, open ears, closed mouth. Okay, be open to giving and taking. The first option we have is avoidance, right? When we talk about avoidance, that means we're pretty much ignoring the issue. At times, this can be appropriate, more so in a corporate setting. But when we talk about personal relationships, avoidance really isn't the best option, because usually it's going to eventually blow up and turn into a bigger issue. Okay. The next option we have is competing. When we talk about a competing option, basically one person is being uncooperative, maybe giving a little bit of aggressive energy, and they are focused on winning as opposed to resolving. Okay, so try not to be the competing person. Then we have compromise. In compromise, there is a mutual agreement that has been made where both parties are willing to give a little bit and take a little bit. Okay. Not to be confused with collaborate. Collaborate means that you guys have negotiated and you all have worked together to find a solution that seems to fit middle ground. And you may not have to give anything, but it's a solution that seems to work best for both people. And we've collaborated on resolving. The last one is accommodate. Now, accommodate is really only helpful if you don't feel too strongly about your position. If it's an issue that, it's not that crucial, it's not that big of a deal for you, then you may be more likely to accommodate the other person and come up with a short-term resolution in a quick manner. Now, on a longer term period, you may need to find a stronger resolution. But for a quick solution, accommodation can be most appropriate if you don't feel too strongly. However, you do want to make sure that you feel good about the plan that you selected. You want to make sure that your voice was heard. You want to make sure that you don't leave this agreement having resentment, because you have said your piece and you have been honest about your true emotions. All right, so keep in mind, you want to evaluate those options. You want to select the best option for each of you, and then select the best option that will help you all get to a resolution. Agree on it and show gratitude, because we definitely want people to know that we appreciate them if this is a relationship that we value. It's too quick and easy to just dismiss someone or cancel them. Taking the time to work on restoring a relationship and doing the work to maintain healthy boundaries in that relationship, that takes courage and it takes patience. So give thanks and allow the person to know that you do appreciate their time, energy, and effort. And make sure that you guys pick a resolution that works for both of you all, so that you don't leave this meeting having resentment. Now, I know we live in a society where cancel culture is the new norm, right? People brag about how quick they cut others off as if it's a flex. But the real flex is being able to maintain healthy, loving relationships with your friends, with your family, with your peers, your partner, or even your coworkers. So Let's go against the norm and do something different. I challenge you. Work on repairing those relationships. All right, you guys, I am back. It is time for us to wrap this thing on up, okay? So I just want to do a quick recap of what we have learned. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, did she have that on in the beginning? And the answer is no, okay? First of all, I'm extra, so I wanted to change. But second of all, I wanted to change my look and my location because in this process, we are learning new ways to do things. And the important part about growth is change. It can be uncomfortable when we are trying out new habits, new strategies, but anything that really is inspiring us to grow is going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be mandatory that we do a little bit of change. So hopefully today I have taught you some strategies that you can implement to get to the other side of resolving your conflicts. All right. So let's do a quick recap of what you guys have learned so far. So first of all, we know that conflict is natural and it is actually a normal part of relationships. In order for us to grow and become closer with people, we have to understand how they operate, right? And so no two people are going to handle things the same way. So in order for me to get closer to you, I have to be able to understand how you think and also understand what your triggers are. By recognizing my own triggers, we can be able to communicate in a more effective way. Okay. We've also learned that when we talk about resolving this conflict, we cannot show up the same way we do when it's time to fight. Okay. So that means our facial expressions, our body language, our posture, our hand gestures, all of the things that normally could trigger someone in conflict, we want to make sure that we are de-escalating those things, even our tone of voice, the volume of our voice, right? We want to make sure that it is non-threatening if we actually are coming into it looking to solve it. Okay. Now, if you're choosing violence, then that's different. That's a whole nother training. But for this training where we're choosing peace and we are actually wanting to resolve the conflict, that means we have to change the whole way we approach it, and we got to come in with a different energy and a different look. Okay. So once we've got our look and our attitude together about approaching the situation, we want to then make sure that our mind is in the right place. Our mind is focused on the solution and making sure that we come in with the understanding that we want to be resolution based and not focused on being right. Is it more important to be right, or is it more important to resolve the conflict? Okay. So you want to make sure that you're implementing active listening skills. You want to make sure that you are being patient with the person. You also want to make sure that you are focused on the solution of this problem and not looking at it for the whole big picture of everything that may have taken place throughout the history of knowing this person. Okay. So being impartial, focus on this particular issue. Okay. You also want to make sure that you come in with your mind focused on identifying the problem, prioritizing the problem, understanding the other person's position, identifying the possible solutions, selecting a solution, and agreeing on that solution. Okay. And we also talked about the 5 different options for conflict resolution. All right. We got our 2 A's and 3 C's. So there is going to be accommodating, there's going to be avoiding, there's going to be collaboration, there's going to be competing, and then there is also one last C. Who can remember? Compromise. Okay. So we got our 2 A's and our 3 C's. You have to decide which one is best for you. You guys discuss it. You guys determine what will be the best for each person. And then hopefully you can meet in the middle. And once you guys agree on what the best option is, then you want to say, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're solving it. And hopefully we can let this go and not get too many other people involved, because we know outside people get involved and things get messy. Okay. So keep the focus on resolving the conflict and not being right. And hopefully this will help you in not only your family relationships, but also your personal relationships, even with your partner. This can also be implemented in the workplace, right? Some things will be pivoted if this is specifically for conflict in the workplace, but in general, you can apply these strategies to any relationship in your life, okay? I have been Pametria Brown, the empowerment expert. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Catch you on the next round. And shout out to Memphis Artists for Change for making this training possible. Be sure to tap in with them for more information about all of the amazing work they're doing right in the city of Memphis. Memphis Artists for Change, where art and activism collide. Be sure to email them at info@memforchange.org or hit up their website. Peace.